After nearly 2 decades, the fairy tale is officially done. And what Keith Urban finally admitted about Nicole Kidman has fans absolutely shook. 4 years, their marriage looked rock solid, red carpet smiles, heartfelt interviews, and 2 stars who seemed to beat the odds in Hollywood. But when the curtain finally dropped, it wasn't just the end of a relationship, it was the awkward words, the loud silences, and the low-key confessions that exposed what many people had been side-eyeing all along. Nicole and Keith's story started with serious sparks, survived major challenges, and inspired millions who thought they'd cracked the code to forever love. But behind the spotlight, tiny cracks were already creeping in. And when Keith's tone shifted in interviews, that hesitation and emotional distance said way more than any straight-up confession ever could. So what really went down? Was it distance, silence, or something way deeper that finally split them apart? Stick around, because we are about to break it all down. And if you're into stories like this, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Nicole's rise before Keith. Nicole Kidman's journey into the spotlight didn't kick off with red carpets or blockbuster hits. It started quietly, far away from Hollywood's flashing cameras, in Honolulu, Hawaii, where she was born in 1967 to Australian parents who were studying in the United States. Her father, Anthony, was a respected psychologist and biochemist, while her mother, Yanelle, was deeply involved in advocacy work. Nicole grew up in an environment where intellect, creativity, and empathy were encouraged, the kind of solid foundation that would shape her both as an actress and as a human being. From the time she was 3, Nicole showed a natural pull toward performing. She enrolled in ballet classes, but it wasn't just dance that caught her attention. By the time she was in school, she was already diving into drama and theater, slowly finding her voice through characters and stories. Ironically, for someone destined to become one of the most celebrated actresses of her generation, Nicole was painfully shy as a child. She even admitted to struggling with a stutter, and social situations straight up terrified her. Acting became her safe zone, a place where she could escape her shyness and step into someone else's skin. Her first real break came in Australia during her teenage years. Films like Bush Christmas and BMX Bandits put her on the map, but it was her roles in Dead Calm and the miniseries Bangkok Hilton in 1989 that truly turned heads. Hollywood came knocking fast, and by 1990, Nicole made the leap to global fame with Days of Thunder, starring alongside Tom Cruise. From there, her career took off like a rocket. Awards, praise, and recognition followed. She became a star not just because of her looks, but because she brought real depth to every role. From critically acclaimed films to producing and starring in HBO's Big Little Lies, Nicole proved she wasn't just another actress, she was the real deal. Her talent, discipline, and non-stop drive made her one of the most respected names in the industry. But behind all the shine, her personal life told a very different story. First sparks with Keith Urban. Nicole Kidman's professional success made her one of the most recognizable actresses on the planet, but her personal life was messy and complicated. After her high-profile marriage to Tom Cruise ended in the early 2000s, people seriously wondered if she'd ever find lasting love again. Then in 2005, fate threw her into the same room as Keith Urban at the G'day USA Gala in Los Angeles. On paper, they were an unexpected combo. Nicole, already an Oscar-winning actress, was pure Hollywood elegance, while Keith was a country musician with a rough-around-the-edges, laid-back vibe. But something about that meeting stuck with her. Later, she admitted she caught feelings almost instantly. The wild part? Keith didn't call her for 4 whole months. Nicole later joked that she assumed he just wasn't into her, but the truth was he was cautious, maybe even a little overwhelmed, by chasing someone of her level. When Keith finally called, everything changed. Once they both landed in New York City, Nicole said she felt a deep certainty that he was the one. On her 38th birthday, Keith locked that feeling in with a move straight out of a rom-com, showing up at her apartment at 5 in the morning holding a bouquet of gardenias. For Nicole, that moment sealed it. This wasn't a fling, it was something real. From there, things moved fast. Nicole invited him as a date to the 30th anniversary gala of the United Nations Development Fund for Women, which she was hosting. The chemistry was obvious, and everyone in the room could feel it. Just a year later, in June 2006, they were saying I do in Sydney, surrounded by family, friends, and Nicole's children from her first marriage. It was a candlelit ceremony that looked straight out of a movie, setting the tone for what many hoped would be a forever kind of love. But as magical as their beginning was, life had some serious curveballs waiting just around the corner. The dream wedding and honeymoon. The wedding of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban wasn't just another celebrity headline, it was a global moment. Held at St. Patrick's Estate in Manly, a beautiful suburb of Sydney, the ceremony was both intimate and grand. Guests described it as pure magic, with glowing candles, soft music, and an overwhelming feeling of joy. Nicole's children, Isabella and Connor, were part of the day, standing beside their mom as she stepped into a new chapter. The newlyweds wasted no time keeping the fairy tale alive. They flew off to French Polynesia for a honeymoon that looked straight out of a romance movie. Private beaches, luxury villas, and quiet nights together gave them a rare break from their insanely busy careers. To fans, the images of Nicole and Keith hand in hand screamed perfection, two stars who had finally found their happily ever after. Nicole spoke openly about how deeply she believed in Keith, calling him the love of my life. For her, this marriage wasn't just about having a partner, it was about trust, strength, and starting fresh with someone who truly got her. Keith, meanwhile, often talked about how lucky he felt to have her, crediting Nicole with giving his life real purpose. But real life doesn't always care about perfect pictures. Just 4 months after the wedding, Nicole faced a devastating truth. Keith was battling serious personal demons, especially substance issues. It was the kind of revelation that could have ended everything before it even began. Instead, Nicole stepped up and staged a bold intervention, pushing him to get help. Keith later admitted it was one of the toughest, but most important moments of his life, and that her courage may have saved him. The world saw a dream wedding and a flawless honeymoon, but behind closed doors, they were already fighting a battle that would shape their marriage. And this was only the beginning. The intervention. For most couples, the honeymoon phase is all about happiness and discovery. For Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, those early months came with a full-blown crisis. Just 4 months into marriage, Nicole was forced to face something she couldn't ignore: Keith's struggle with alcohol and substances. It wasn't something he could hide, and Nicole, no stranger to the pressures of fame, saw the red flags immediately. Instead of staying quiet, she stepped in and staged an intervention. It was a risky move, one that took guts and love, but she believed in him too much to let things slide. Keith later said in a Rolling Stone interview that he felt very, very blessed she did that. To him, it wasn't just an ultimatum, it was proof she cared about his future. Soon after, Keith checked into rehab to face his demons head-on. The timing was brutal, he was recording and touring, but it became a turning point. For 3 months, Nicole showed up, supported him, and made sure he knew their marriage was worth fighting for. When that chapter ended, Keith came out sober, focused, and reunited with his wife. The music world noticed too. Despite the chaos in his personal life, Keith released Love, Pain, and the Whole Crazy Thing, an album that mirrored his struggles and growth. That same year, he was named Male Vocalist of the Year at the Country Music Association Awards in Nashville, proof his career wasn't just surviving, it was winning. Their story could have ended right there, but instead, Nicole and Keith showed what commitment really looks like, standing together when things get ugly. Fans saw them as strong, loyal, and even more united afterward. But marriage isn't just about surviving one storm, it's about weathering the ones that keep coming. Quick pause: if this story's got you hooked, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next twist in Hollywood's wildest stories. Family expands. After those early struggles, Nicole and Keith stepped into a brighter chapter filled with hope and excitement. In January 2008, they announced they were expecting their first child together, and the news made headlines around the world. Nicole's representative shared that the couple was thrilled, and honestly, anyone watching could tell that becoming parents meant everything to them. That summer, on July 7, 2008, their daughter, Sunday Rose, was born in Nashville. The couple released a heartfelt statement calling her an absolute delight, and spoke openly about how incredibly blessed they felt to welcome her into their lives. Keith, especially, really stepped up as a supportive partner. Nicole later remembered how he once flew halfway across the world just to be there for an ultrasound appointment, spending only a few hours in Australia before rushing straight back to the US for a show. That move seriously showed how deep his devotion ran, not just to Nicole, but to their growing family too. 2 years later, in December 2010, their happiness doubled when they welcomed their second daughter, Faith Margaret. Born via surrogate, Faith's arrival was kept private until Nicole and Keith released a statement expressing their deep gratitude, not only for their daughter, but also for the woman who carried her. They described their family as truly blessed, words that hit home for fans who had watched them survive earlier storms. In public, Nicole and Keith looked happier than ever. Parenthood gave them a new sense of purpose, and seemed to bring them even closer. Whether they were walking red carpets, performing at concerts, or talking about each other in interviews, they always painted the picture of a couple fully committed to their family and to each other. To the outside world, their marriage looked rock solid. But as time would show, even the happiest families can face struggles that stay hidden behind the scenes. Shared grief and support. Even the most picture-perfect marriages get tested by life. For Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, one of the toughest blows came in September 2014, when Nicole's father, Dr. Anthony Kidman, passed away unexpectedly after an accidental fall. Losing a parent is a pain that never fully goes away, and for Nicole, who shared a close bond with her father, the loss was absolutely devastating. In that heartbreaking moment, Keith's role in her life became crystal clear. He stood right by her side, offering comfort, protection, and strength when she needed it most. At the funeral, he performed a deeply emotional rendition of Amazing Grace, a gesture that said everything about their love and unity. The song, simple but powerful, left mourners in tears and reminded everyone that this wasn't just a flashy Hollywood marriage, it was a partnership built on real compassion. Moments like this gave the public a rare look at what kept Nicole and Keith strong behind closed doors. They weren't just surviving scandals or career pressure, they were leaning on each other during raw, human grief. Nicole later shared advice from a family priest that helped them stay connected throughout their marriage. Always kiss hello and kiss goodbye. To her, those small everyday rituals mattered just as much as the big romantic gestures. For years, they lived by that advice, building a routine filled with affection and respect despite their crazy schedules. Fans saw a couple that seemed unbreakable, the kind who could ride out any storm together. But as the years went by, cracks slowly formed, not in public, where they still smiled and looked close, but behind closed doors, where small differences quietly started to grow. Red carpet smiles versus private struggles. From the outside, Nicole and Keith still looked like they were living the dream. They showed up hand in hand at premieres, landed magazine covers filled with glowing interviews, and celebrated anniversaries with sweet social media posts. In April 2024, Nicole even called herself so lucky to have Keith, describing him as her deep, deep love, words that only strengthened the image of a happy, secure marriage. They continued making public appearances together at major events, including the 2025 Academy of Country Music Awards and the FIFA Club World Cup in Nashville. To fans, they still looked glamorous, united, and totally in sync. Their love story seemed untouched, like nothing could shake it. But insiders and close friends hinted that things weren't as perfect as they looked. Rumors started swirling that the couple was spending more time apart, and reports claimed Keith had quietly set up his own place. Neither Nicole nor Keith addressed the gossip publicly, but the whispers only grew louder over time. Their social media, once full of warmth and family moments, became more selective and carefully curated, almost too polished. For those paying attention, the red carpet smiles started to feel like a front hiding something fragile. It wasn't that the love was completely gone, it was that life, careers, and differences were pulling them in opposite directions. And soon, those quiet whispers of separation would explode into headlines that shocked fans worldwide. Signs of separation. By 2025, the carefully polished image of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's marriage began showing undeniable cracks. For fans who had followed their nearly 20-year love story, the changes were subtle at first: fewer appearances together, carefully worded interviews, and a distance that hadn't existed before. Behind the scenes, reports suggested the couple had already started living in separate homes. Insiders close to them claimed Keith had quietly set up his own place, a move many saw as a sign the relationship was nearing its breaking point. For Nicole, the shift was shocking and deeply painful. Sources said she felt blindsided and heartbroken by the sudden unraveling of the marriage she had fought so hard to protect. She had always spoken openly about her commitment to family and the strength of her bond with Keith, making the growing silence between them even harder to bear. Adding fuel to the speculation was a revealing interview Nicole gave just weeks before the official split. She spoke honestly about life's unpredictability, saying, "How many times do you have to be taught that you think you know where your life is going and then it isn't going in that direction?" Entertainment Weekly, EW.com, Nicole Kidman hints at Keith Urban breakup weeks before announcement. For many fans, those words felt like a quiet warning of what was coming. What made everything more confusing was that only months earlier, Nicole had posted a heartfelt anniversary message on Instagram. Sharing a photo with Keith, she wrote, "Happy anniversary, baby," at Keith Urban, showing the world she was still holding onto the love story that had shaped her life for nearly 2 decades. Keith had also previously said that marrying the right person was the single best decision he had ever made. But as the rumors spread, fans began connecting the dots. Appearances together became rare, and when Keith stopped showing up at family events, where he was once a constant presence, people started asking what was really going on. By September 2025, the whispers turned into full-blown headlines. Nicole filed for divorce in Nashville on September 30th, citing irreconcilable differences. After 19 years of marriage, the fairy tale officially came to an end. Keith's uneasy interviews. In the weeks leading up to the separation, Keith Urban's interview behavior sparked speculation, and later, confirmation from major outlets that something wasn't right. For years, Keith had been warm and open when talking about Nicole, often praising her talent and reminiscing about their love story. But by the summer of 2025, that energy had clearly shifted. One of the biggest red flags came during an appearance on the Australian radio show hosted by Amanda Keller. When she asked if fate had brought him and Nicole together, Keith's response surprised listeners. Instead of his usual heartfelt stories, he hesitated and admitted he had no idea. According to People, he even appeared visibly uncomfortable, pausing awkwardly and eventually unbuttoning his jacket like he was trying to ease the tension. For someone who once welcomed questions about his marriage, the change was impossible to ignore. Another interview, this time with Ryan Seacrest, only added to the concern. When asked how he and Nicole balanced their busy schedules, Keith paused before answering with just 3 words, "It's a job." While the comment could be taken as a reminder that marriage takes work, the lack of warmth in his voice stood out. Observers noticed he quickly moved on, showing none of the enthusiasm that once defined how he spoke about Nicole. Clips from these interviews spread online, sparking intense debate among fans. Some believed Keith was just protecting his privacy. Others saw his hesitation and discomfort as subtle signs that the marriage was already falling apart. As people reported, these awkward moments spoke louder than any statement, fueling speculation that the relationship was nearing its end. And as Fox News also noted, Keith's awkward interviews seemingly hinted at Nicole Kidman marriage issues, reinforcing the idea that the signs were there long before the divorce became official. Looking back, it almost feels like Keith's silence, and his discomfort, said everything. He never outright said the marriage was over, but his tone and body language told the real story. And just weeks later, Nicole's divorce filing officially confirmed what a lot of people had already started to feel in their gut. Keith's uneasy interviews. In the weeks leading up to their split, Keith Urban's vibe during interviews became a major talking point, first as speculation, then later backed up by big-name outlets saying something just felt off. For years, Keith had been warm, open, and genuinely affectionate whenever Nicole came up, always hyping her talent and reminiscing about how they fell in love. But by the summer of 2025, that whole energy had shifted. One of the biggest red flag moments happened during an appearance on the Australian radio show hosted by Amanda Keller. When she asked if fate had brought him and Nicole together, Keith's response straight up caught listeners by surprise. Instead of the sweet, romantic stories fans were used to, he hesitated and admitted he had no idea. According to People, he even got visibly uncomfortable, pausing awkwardly and eventually unbuttoning his jacket like he was trying to shake off the tension. For a guy who once welcomed questions about his marriage, the change was pretty wild. Another interview, this time with Ryan Seacrest, only added fuel to the fire. When asked how he and Nicole balanced their packed schedules, Keith paused, then answered with just 3 words, "It's a job." Sure, that could have been about the effort marriage takes, but the cold tone said a lot. Observers noticed he quickly changed the subject, showing none of the excitement that once defined how he talked about Nicole. Clips from these interviews started blowing up online, sparking intense debates among fans. Some said Keith was just protecting his privacy. Others felt his hesitation and discomfort were low-key admissions that the marriage was already falling apart. As People pointed out, these awkward moments spoke louder than any statement, pushing speculation that the relationship was nearing the end. Fox News echoed that sentiment too, reporting that Keith's awkward interviews seemingly hinted at Nicole Kidman marriage issues, making it clear the signs were there way before the divorce went public. Looking back, it almost feels like Keith's silence, and his visible discomfort, was the real confession. He never flat out said the marriage was over, but his tone and body language told the whole story. And then, just weeks later, Nicole's divorce filing confirmed what many had already been suspecting. The final split. On September 30th, 2025, one of Hollywood's most admired love stories officially came to an end. Nicole Kidman filed for divorce from Keith Urban in Nashville, citing irreconcilable differences. For fans, the news hit hard and felt sudden, especially after nearly 2 decades of seeing them together on red carpets, at award shows, and during family outings. But for those paying close attention, the warning signs had been stacking up for months. The filing came just one day after headlines confirmed their separation, and sources close to Nicole said she had been fighting hard to save the marriage. Reports suggested she felt blindsided and deeply hurt, not just by the split itself, but by how fast everything seemed to unravel. For her, the breakdown of their 19-year relationship was crushing, especially since she had spoken so recently and so lovingly about Keith. Their public appearances suddenly took on a whole new meaning. The last time they were seen together was at the 2025 Academy of Country Music Awards and at a FIFA Club World Cup match in Nashville. At the time, everything looked normal: smiles, photos, mutual support, the usual. But just weeks later, the truth came out. They had been living apart for a while, and Keith had quietly set up his own place. The divorce papers themselves were pretty straightforward, with Nicole asking for privacy and dignity throughout the process. Neither she nor Keith made public statements, leaving fans to connect the dots themselves. That silence only made things more puzzling. What really drove apart two people who once seemed so solid? Was it fame, career pressure, family challenges, or just the slow drift that sometimes happens over time? For millions who rooted for them, this wasn't just another celebrity breakup. It was the end of a chapter that once felt like proof that real love could survive in Hollywood. But the most revealing moment didn't happen in court. It came through what Keith Urban finally admitted, subtly, almost reluctantly, about their relationship. Keith's subtle admission. After the divorce news dropped, fans started replaying every interview Keith had done in the months leading up to the split. He never dropped a dramatic bombshell, but his words, and especially his pauses, painted a picture of someone who had already emotionally checked out. In one of his final interviews before Nicole filed, Keith dodged direct questions about his wife, a huge contrast to earlier years when he openly gushed about her. When asked how they managed life together, his short, clipped answers felt distant. His phrase "life is in session" hinted that he had already moved on, accepting change instead of fighting it. Insiders said Keith's silence wasn't accidental. For a man who once called Nicole the greatest love of his life, this shift was telling. It wasn't anger or bitterness, it was quieter, almost like resignation. By avoiding clear answers and keeping things vague, Keith indirectly admitted what fans had suspected all along: the marriage had been unraveling for a long time. For many, his silence spoke louder than any headline. Where there used to be affection and praise, there was now hesitation and emotional distance. It wasn't messy or dramatic, but it was enough. In his own low-key way, Keith confirmed that their love story had reached its final chapter. For Nicole, the pain showed in reports saying she felt blindsided and betrayed by how quickly things changed. For Keith, the message seemed to be that life had simply moved in a different direction. And just like that, the fairytale romance that once stood as a symbol of strength in Hollywood became a bittersweet memory. Conclusion. After nearly 2 decades together, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's marriage has become one of Hollywood's most talked-about breakups, not because of scandals or explosive accusations, but because of how quietly it fell apart. From their magical first meeting at a gala in 2005 to their candlelit wedding in Sydney, their story had all the vibes of a modern fairytale. They faced challenges head-on, supported each other through loss, and built a family that looked rock-solid. For years, they were proof that real love could survive under the harsh spotlight of fame. But not all love stories end the way they start. Over time, subtle cracks became impossible to ignore. Living separately, Keith's awkward interviews, and Nicole's emotional anniversary post just months before filing for divorce all painted a clear picture of two people slowly drifting apart. What once felt like destiny quietly turned into distance. Keith never made a big, dramatic confession, that's just not him. Instead, his reluctance to talk about Nicole, his uneasy answers, and his final comment that life is in session became his way of acknowledging reality. Without ever saying it outright, he confirmed what fans had already figured out: the marriage had ended long before the paperwork was signed. Nicole, meanwhile, reportedly fought until the very end to save what they had. For Keith, it wasn't about resentment, it was about acceptance. In the end, his silence said everything. Their story is a reminder that behind every glamorous red carpet moment is a very real, very human journey, full of love, loss, and tough choices. Nicole and Keith's chapter together may be over, but the impact of their nearly 20-year bond still hits hard. So what do you think? Was Keith's subtle admission just honesty about life moving on, or do you think there's more to this story that hasn't come out yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed breaking down this untold chapter of their lives, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's next. Because in Hollywood, endings are rarely simple, and the next twist is always right around the corner.